Welcome back everyone to the fourth video in my Wolfram Park series on Planet Coaster. In this video I'm going to be adding a small facade that would serve as a souvenir shop near the exit of the park, and then start working on the coaster for the front section of the park. I have some of this real-time footage here at the beginning of the episode just to show off the lighting at night of the main entrance. Now I'm going to jump straight in here and start designing the facade for what would be a souvenir shop. I end up putting another Hats Fantastic shop into this front section of the park later on. So there are no stores that will currently be in this building I'm building now. But once more stores are released on the future updates, they'll be able to go into this facade. Now I was trying to keep this building themed like the rest of the front of the park. However, I'm not very happy with how it turned out. I played around with it quite a bit, trying to make the roof look different from the other buildings so far, but it also still fit the theme. I did have an idea when I went in to start building this building. I wanted the roof to overhang over the sidewalk area. In my head, I had an idea of what I wanted it to look like, but with the pieces available, I couldn't really achieve it. I may come back to this building in the future and change it if I learn to use the pieces better or when other sets become available. I definitely think the building can be improved from its current state, but for now, it ended up being okay. I'm going to go ahead and play some music. There's not much to talk about while designing and building this building, but when I get over to start working on the roller coaster, I'll definitely have some things to say. Now what you'll see me working on here in a moment is a employee path that goes behind this building, and we'll go up the hill you see behind the building also, connecting the backs of all of the facades for the next section of the park I'll be working on. This just adds to the realism of the park, and I theme it up to kind of hide it away so it's not visible from the main path. Now you can see I'm beginning work on the coaster. And the ride building is one of the few buildings so far that have actually had a very clear idea of what I wanted to build. I actually had a picture pulled up on my second monitor and was sort of building based off of that. The building I was looking at had this sort of stepped roof, which you'll see soon, and these like pillar things sort of crossing over it. It fit the theme perfectly for what I wanted. So I pretty much just copied the entire building, making some minor changes to fit within the constraints of the items available. Now you can start to see here this multi-tiered roof I was talking about, and how the flat and angular edges and sides really pull together and fit the theme so far. Now this building will end up being fairly bland during the daytime, as the building I was going off of didn't have hardly any sort of decorations around the outside or small details. It was really just a concrete building with this sort of steel angular roof, and although it fits the theme, it is somewhat boring to look at. So later on in this episode, I add a lot of lighting and wall signs and various other scenery objects just to sort of liven up the area around the building and make it a little more colorful and vibrant. It came out really well, I think, in the end, even with the limited detail put into the building itself. Now, when I first started designing this building, I originally thought of just having the queue for the ride go back and forth a few times on the inside possibly, and then just have a long outdoor queue and possibly put a sort of awning over it. However, later on in the episode you'll see I end up building an entire complex for the path to go through, and I tried to keep with the theme for not only this building but the front of the park. It didn't turn out perfect, and I still have a lot of work to do on the inside to sort of theme it up and make it a little more vibrant and pretty. But I think just overall it was a better idea than just having an open path and then the generic sort of coaster entrance that's available now. Now you can see how I'm putting this slanted roof overhanging the front of the building where the lift hill will come out. And I had a couple ideas of how I was going to design the front of this building. My original idea, as you can kind of see here, was just to have an open front with this slanted roof, and the coaster lift hill would follow that slant up and out. And my second idea was to create a semi-enclosed lift hill. Maybe halfway up the lift hill would be enclosed in a tight box of these roof pieces, and then they would come out into the sun just before reaching the top of the lift hill and then going into the first drop. And what I ended up with was almost a hybrid of these two ideas. The first small section of the lift hill ends up being somewhat enclosed, but then the rest of it is just out in the open. Here you can see me designing the back of the building's roof. I took obviously the idea from the main gate and applied it here, and it turned out pretty well actually. Now, as with a lot of the other buildings so far, I'm going to start using the wall signs to try and change up the look of the outside of the building. I really like these sort of red and orange signs, and then tilt them sideways and use them as these sort of slash marks, just to really change up the outside appearance of the building. I also wanted to put a logo for the ride. I ended up going with the 360 Power logo, even though I'll probably have that flat ride in the park, so I'm not sure if I may change something later just to avoid having duplicates of the same name for two different rides. Hopefully when the full game comes out, or possibly even in another alpha update, they will add lettered signs, and then we can just make our own coaster names and everything on our own. So things will probably change in that respect at some point when more options are added. But for now it works fine, and it's not a big deal if there's duplicate names. Now you can see here, trying to build the queue path didn't work out very well because it's just a little bit too big to go back and forth in that area I laid out. If I had made the path a little bit narrower, it may have worked out better, but I just sort of left it as it was because it works fine for now. When I was first thinking about building this roller coaster, I wanted to start with a dive coaster, and so after watching other people make them, I thought it'd be really easy to get the track to do what I wanted, but it's actually really difficult to get the track to go into a straight vertical drop. And you'll see, I think, a few times in this video, it looks straight, but then once you rotate the camera around and look at the track head on, it actually goes off to one side or twists, and smoothing it doesn't really work sometimes. It actually took me quite a while to get the initial drop straight. I have also cut out quite a lot of video where I was building and rebuilding this coaster from scratch. I just couldn't get the back area, or I guess the main section, to do what I wanted. And I was also trying to keep the track in the entrance area of the park and not spill over into the adjacent theme areas. I also knew while working on this coaster that I wanted it to have a loop section of some sort go over the entrance of the park. And you can see that here, where I created my own corkscrew that goes over the entrance area and then does another corkscrew to turn it around and come back towards the end of the ride. I don't know what kind of intensity or nausea rating this coaster might have once the game is fully built, but I know riding it in first person is somewhat nauseating actually, just because there are so many loops and corkscrews and barrel rolls and things. However, it is pretty fun to ride, and I'll put up some POV shots of the ride once I get the entrance area of the park done, and all the theming and lighting is finalized. Now there's a little bit of a time jump here. As you can see, there's a building on the left that's already done and attached to the coaster main building. Apparently I had paused my XSplit recording and I didn't realize it for quite a while. So this building got done before I realized I wasn't recording and I wasn't going to go back and recreate it. It was a fairly boring building to make, but it does contain the queue for the ride and the exit path. I'm not very happy with how the roof turned out, especially on this corner piece with the overlapping squares and how they don't line up very well. But it's about the best I could do with what's available. I probably could have created a bunch of separate buildings and gotten a cleaner line for the roof tiles, but then I would have ended up with like 10 or 20 individual roof tiles that were their own buildings, and I just didn't want to mess with it, so I did the best I could. everyone, that's going to be it for this video. In the next few episodes, I'm hoping to get some nice long panning shots of the park. I keep forgetting to do them, and I've lost it a couple times. But once I finish the front section of the park, I'm going to take some nice screenshots and have some slow panning shots of the park just to show off what it looks like once it's finished. I may also come back and change the ride entrance a little bit. I was trying to figure out how to differentiate between the entrance and exit for the ride. And as you can see, I have the welcome sign for the entrance and that yellow and red sign as the exit. So that's the end of this video. I hope you liked it. If you do like it, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, share it, and I'll see you in the next video.